Good evening and welcome back to Mo's channel. The last two videos I spoke about white history and true history. In this video, I'd like to talk about the big motherfucking propaganda machine called the media. Now, when I talk about the media, I imply print media, as in magazines, newspapers that are still printed, audio media, which is radio, and audio-visual media, which is television and movies. Now, to understand the significance and the place of media in the promotion of the white supremacist agenda, one has to understand how the media operates. In television, the objective is not for you to watch the programming, the sitcom, the comedy, the drama. The objective is for you to watch the commercials. Television stations make their revenue off of advertising revenues. Now, advertisers will pay for spots on a program that targets their desired demographic. So if I'm selling children's clothing, who buys children's clothing? The mother or the father? So as an advertiser selling children's clothing, I will advertise my product on a program that's targeted at mothers and fathers of young children. Where this comes into play is that through the media, I can program the minds of the masses. That's why they call it mass media. I could program the minds of the masses. How do I do this? If you show something to someone over and over and over and over again, they start to believe it. If you're a woman and I tell you today that you're a bitch and your only purpose in life is to get fucked by any man that walks down the street, and I tell you that you don't have a mind and you shouldn't try to use your mind, and I tell you the same thing tomorrow, and I tell you the same thing the day after and the day after, pretty soon, if you're not a critical thinker, pretty soon you start to believe that you ain't shit, that you're a woman and you ain't shit, because I have conditioned you to believe that. Think of Pavlov's dog. Most psychology students have come across this. As a dog, you ring a bell, the dog responds to the bell, it comes to the location, there's food. Day one, day two, same thing, ring a bell, the dog comes, there's food. Day three, you ring a bell, dog comes, there's food. At this point, the dog has become conditioned that when it hears that bell, it associates that with food. So on the fourth day, you ring the bell, the dog comes, there's no food. The fifth day, you ring the bell, the dog will still come because it's expecting food. How does the media promote white supremacy with this methodology? You turn on television. About 70-80% of television programming today has nothing but white people. The cast is white. It's in a white setting. The storyline reflects the white lifestyle. You might see a black actor here or a black actor there, but they're just a token to promote that white lifestyle. You look at cartoons. Batman is white. Superman is white. What others? All your little heroes. Conan. All of them. They're all white. What's this doing? When a little kid wakes up in the morning, Saturday morning, Sunday morning, and goes to watch cartoons, and they see nothing but white heroes saving the day, what does that little kid start to think? That little black kid, that little Asian kid, that little Latino kid. They start to think that all heroes are white. That the only people that could save the day are white. And that I, as a black kid, I ain't shit. So, from a young age, you take the Asian kid, the black kid, the Latino kid, and you start to teach them that they're less than white people from a very, very young age. In the media, the notion is that the best looking men are tall and white. And the best looking women are blonde and white, with blue eyes, of course. All right? Now, if you go to an Asian man and ask him, what's your preference in women? More likely than not, he's going to specify something that resembles an Asian woman. If you go to most black men and ask them, what's your preference in women? More likely than not, they're going to relate something that resembles a black woman. If you go to a Latino man and ask them, what's your preference in women? Most likely, they're going to relate something that resembles a Latino woman. So, this notion that beauty is white is not universally accepted. However, when you look at black men have a desire, a love for white women. Having a white woman on my arm, I'm the shit. And I want to walk around with her everywhere so everyone can see I got a white woman. The problem is any white woman. The black man will pick the fattest, ugliest white woman that no other white man wants anything to do with, but just because she's white, she becomes a token, a trophy. You see that with Asian women and white men. Asian women are drawn to white men because the media portrays a white man as the shit. Even though their men, Asian men, are more intelligent than white men, are more educated than white men, and for the most part are more successful than white men. But the Asian woman is drawn to that white male because that's what the media has fed her to believe. And I could go on. Black women. The media has convinced black women that they're the ugliest pieces of shit on the planet. Ugliest. I'll say this. And of course, this is my personal opinion. In my mind, black women are the most attractive women, are the sexiest women, have the most confidence, and have gone through the most shit, more so than any other race of women. No other race of women has had to sit there and watch their men hung, spit upon, whipped, and yet they still stood by their men. I respect that about black women. There's some things I have issues with, but I respect that amongst black women. Black women age the most gracefully of all races of women. You look at a black woman, she's 40 years old, and she looks younger than a white woman who's 25. wrinkles, titties sagging, ass sagging, they don't suffer from those issues. The same could be said to a lesser degree about Latino women and Asian women. Asian women and Indian women are probably the most successful women in corporate America. They're probably the most highly educated women, not white women. So, from that perspective, you really can't say that the white woman is the most attractive. Look at white men. White men, from what I've found, are the most insecure men on the planet. The most insecure men. Why? As I've said, Asian men are more intelligent, more intellectually hardworking, are more intellectually accomplished than white men. Go out there in corporate America. See who all the engineers are. They're either Asian or Indian or Arab. See who's starting the companies in Silicon Valley. See who's innovating. All right? Physically, athletic-wise, white men can't even equal black men. If you go back to the 80s, the 70s, the NBA was about 50% white. Then Michael Jordan comes along, and he changes everything. So now, to play in the NBA, you have to have skills. You have to be able to move the ball, to cut the ball, to cross dribble, all that shit. You have to be able to drive to the lane with force, explosiveness. I played basketball in high school and college. Now, prior to the 80s, prior to Michael Jordan, basketball was bounce, bounce, pass, bounce, bounce, pass, bounce, bounce, pass. You didn't see motherfuckers cutting through people, driving to the lane. You didn't see that shit. Jordan started to do that shit. Once Jordan started to do that shit, you gotta remember, as a high school player, I looked up to college and professional players. As a college player, I looked up to professional players. So what the NBA players were doing, I tried to replicate. What the NFL players were doing, I tried to replicate. What the UEFA players were doing, professional soccer in Europe, I tried to replicate. So you had a lot of these college kids that were looking at the Jordans and all of them and saying, "That's how I want to be." The black kids could do it, the white kids couldn't. Down the road, what happened is the teams started recruiting more black kids because that's the direction they wanted to go. Basketball had changed. The white kids could not keep up. White men are not athletically inclined. White men are generally weaker than black men. All right? White men don't have the charisma, the natural humor that black men do. So if you focus in the media and critically and take in everything it feeds you, you'll get the wrong impression about reality. But that's what the media is there for. Just the other day, I think 2 days ago, this governor from Virginia was shown in blackface. And then I think a week or two ago, some student, white female student, University of Oklahoma, was caught in blackface. Now, there's this big uproar about this. But you have to go back and understand. Where did blackface come from? What was its purpose? Because if you understand that, you'll understand the purpose of the media and how it functions. Blackface, that is, for those who don't know what blackface is, that's a white person that paints their face black and acts. like a stupid, ignorant Negro. Blackface was designed to demean the black person. The majority of media was and has been designed to demean the black person. The purpose of that is to feed into the minds of white people that you are indeed superior to the black person. The black person is a piece of shit and you're better than them. So you mock the black person. You portray the black person as a piece of shit, as lazy, as an idiot. Unfortunately, a lot of black people look at that shit and they take it to heart. And they start believing that's what they are. And that's why you see a lot of these black people walking around here acting like idiots, pants sagging, little hoochie mamas, whatever, acting like fools, having no self-respect, no dignity. And that further feeds that stereotype that exists in white people's mind. On the other hand, it promotes within the white person this notion that you could do or say whatever you want to black people and it's okay. As long as no one catches you, it's okay. It promotes a sense of passivity within black people that, oh, well, that's the way it is. I can't do anything about it. I can't fight it. And it also promotes this sense in black people that they, black people, need a white savior to come rescue them. They forget, black people, they forget that before white people were here, we were running shit. They forget that the Nation of Islam, the Black Panthers, those are the motherfuckers that scared the white people so much. The white people said, let's embrace this passive, nonviolent movement and distance. Those are the guys. They tried to create a rift between Malcolm and Martin. That did not work. And I applaud Malcolm and Martin for not letting the white man come between them. We speak after Obama was elected, everyone started talking about we live in a post-racial world. Racism is gone, racism is done. Racism is still alive very much today, just in a different way. You have to understand this, black man, black woman. You have to understand this. It is in the nature of the white man to be racist. That is his nature. He will do it as long as he can get away with it. When a white man smiles in your face, acting all buddy-buddy, you gotta ask yourself, what does he want? That's their nature. They are very cunning. Very cunning. So, they want the spotlight taken from them. Because when you shine the spotlight on them, they cannot behave in the way they want to behave. By saying racism is dead, racism is over, that was their push to take that spotlight from them, such that they could continue to do and behave in the racist manner they always have. These things that are coming out now are testament to the fact that these people are as racist as they've ever been, and that is not going to change unless we make a change. Too often, we as a people desperately seek acceptance from white people. Jay-Z has his clothing line, Rockaway. But he puts out a song called Tom Ford. I listened, it had a tight beat. It had a tight motherfucking beat. And I was like, who the fuck is Tom Ford? I went and I researched. Tom Ford is some white designer. So I'm asking myself, Jay-Z, you probably got more money than this Tom Ford guy. You got your own clothing line. Why don't you put out shit that's better than him and then sing about your shit? Why? Oprah Winfrey, rich billionaire black woman, went to London, went to some store. They didn't give her the respect she felt she deserved. It was a white, very high-end store that serves white people. So why would you be surprised, Oprah? Why? Just because you have money does not mean that these white people are now going to look at you and say you're one of us. You're still a nigga to them. And what's worse, in their mind, they're asking, who the fuck does this nigga bitch think she is to make all this money? You've earned your shit, Oprah. But in their minds, you don't deserve it. Yet you'll want to go shop at their stores. Jada Pinkett Smith, a while back, was making this big fuss. Oh, there are no black actors nominated for the Oscars, blah, blah, blah. Think about it, Jada. You've accomplished a lot in the film industry. Your husband, Will Smith, has accomplished a lot in the film industry. You're probably better actors and actresses than these white people. But you're black. You're black in the white film industry. They really don't want you there. They really don't. So why are you surprised they're not going to nominate you? Look at Spike Lee. Spike Lee, who has done more for black film and black actors and directors than any other individual that I could name. Denzel, put on by Spike Lee. Wesley Snipes, put on by Spike Lee. Samuel L. Jackson, put on by Spike Lee. Halle Berry, put on by Spike Lee. So many of these big black stars started off with Spike Lee. How many Oscars has Spike Lee even been nominated for? Forget winning, nominated for. But we need them. So we think. What if Denzel, Will Smith, Spike, Wesley, Samuel L. Jackson, and others came together and said, you know what? Fuck these white people. We'll start our own movie studio. And we'll put out movies that speak to the black experience, the Asian experience, and the Latino experience. I guarantee you, your movie studio will be far more successful than any of these white studios. Why? Because you have a much larger target audience, number one. Number two, you're putting out a unique product. Think about that. The other day, Colin Kaepernick, forgive me, I mispronounced his name, Colin, he took a knee for the national anthem. Then other players started taking knees and became a big issue. Now, when I played college sports at Indiana, I played at Indiana my first year. That's a white school. It used to trip me the fuck out, especially in basketball, because in basketball it's an arena. You could look up in the stands, they could get a better visualization of who's in the stands, as opposed to football where it's so much bigger and open. But it would trip me out. I look up in the stands and I see about 70-80% of the people are white. And I look in the court, I'm like, damn, 70% of the people in the stands are white, 70% of the people in the court are black. Football was about 50%. When I went to Howard, it was a different story. So, to these professional athletes, you don't know what your power is. Yes, the owners cut your check. But if 70% of the receivers are black, if about 60% of the defensive linemen are black in the NFL, and about 30 to 40% of the starting quarterbacks are black, and about 70-80% of the running backs are black, what would have been more effective? When Trump met with the owners and these white owners said, oh, this is what we're going to do, all of you players should have said, you know what? We're not going to play. We're not going to play. NFL players should have said that. NBA players should have said that. We're not going to play. Unless you respect our rights, unless you respect our freedom of speech to express ourselves, we're not going to play. I guarantee you the very next day, not even a week, not even a month, the very next day, the owners would have come back and said, okay, let's work this out. You're looking at the paycheck that you're going to get for that game, $200,000, $300,000, $1 million, whatever. Those owners, you losing $200,000. Those owners, they're losing about 10, 20, 30 million for that game. The television stations that have the rights to broadcast those games, they're losing millions. But guess what? There is no game without that black athlete on the field, in the arena. So if all those black athletes would have come together and said, fuck this, I'll miss a paycheck, I'll miss 2 paychecks, but let's all come together and say, we're not playing. I guarantee you, those owners would have come back the very fucking next day with something different. I guarantee you that. You black athletes in the NBA, in the NFL, and in Major League Baseball, remember this, a lot of those Hispanic, Latino baseball players are black. You are the ones that make these sports be what they are. It is because of you that the television stations can make money. It is because of you that the owners can make money. It's not the other way around. They need you more than you need them. But the media has us fooled. And we need to be critical when analyzing the media. We need to be critical when assessing the reality of the situation. You cannot trust a white man. You cannot. A white man will smile in your face, tell you they're your buddy, all of that, and then turn around and turn on you. You don't know what your white friends say about black people when they're alone, where no black people can hear them speak. You have no idea. But you're so enthralled by whiteness that when a white person wants to be your friend, you're happy. When a white woman notices you, you're happy. Why? because the media has taught you that. We cannot change the media because it's controlled by them. Because it's controlled by them. When Bill Cosby tried to buy NBC, they shut him out. But they never forgot. And they said, we're going to teach this uppity nigger a lesson. And you see where he is right now. Where's Harvey Weinstein? Has he even gone to trial? I don't think so. Have any of the other white men gone to trial? Grab him by the pussy? I don't think so. We have to wake up. We have to understand that racism is alive. Racism is not going to die off on its own. It's going to take action. Knowing the true history of this world and where white people fit in that history is one step. Knowing the media, how the media operates, and what the media is trying to promote is another step. Once you know that, you have to know your history. You have to understand your history. You have to understand your people. Know your strengths. Know your weaknesses. Know your enemy's strengths and his weaknesses. And my enemy is a white man. So know his strengths and his weaknesses. Once you know that, then you're ready for battle. And what does this battle involve? Number one, make it clear to white people that you know about all their lies, that you know they ain't shit, and that you're not going to take shit from them. The white man is very dumb. He's very dumb. You cannot reason with him. You cannot sit there and tell him what you're doing is wrong, because he'll keep doing it. Why? Because he feels entitled. How do you deal with him? Beat the shit out of them. Beat the shit out of them. They'll front all day like they tough what? Beat the shit out of them. My experience has shown me that if you get caught up in this talking, you're going to get frustrated. But when you step up to them, in their face, I don't give a fuck how tall they are, how short they are. I don't give a fuck how big they are, how skinny they are. You step up to them in their face, then you're going to see the bitch come out of them. Every time I've stepped to a white boy who was talking all this shit, blah, 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 you know what the fuck they did? They got scared and called the police on me. And I've had to deal with so many fucking police, it's ridiculous. Or they'll call security on you. Because they'll try and sneak their dumb little shit, hoping they're going to get away with it. But when you come back at them and let them know I'm going to fuck you up, their tone changes right away. Number 2, build your own. Build your own. If you go to LA, California, where I was born and raised, you'll find a lot of these Mexicans. A lot of these Mexicans have their own businesses. It could be a taco truck. It could be their own landscaping company. It could be their own construction company. It could be their own little restaurant, a little shop. A lot of these Mexicans have their own businesses in LA. Asians' focus has been on attaining a high quality education so they could get a good job. These Asians have been so successful that Harvard University is now trying to discriminate against them, saying that if we accept every Asian who qualifies, Harvard is going to be all Asian, which I say, you know what? If it's an Asian kid that starts studying for the SAT by the time they're a sophomore in high school, if it's an Asian kid who's getting good grades, and if it's an Asian kid who qualifies to go to Harvard, then let Harvard be all Asian. Because then that might be a wake-up call to the other kids that, you know what, if we want to get up there, we better get on our shit. So build your own. Build your own. If these movie stars got together and built their own studio, they wouldn't have to worry about complaining, oh, I can't get cast in any good roles. If these intelligent black people went out there and started their own companies, then they wouldn't have to complain about employment discrimination. If black people had their own banks, we wouldn't have to complain about lending discrimination. Build your own. Because when you build your own, given that you're more intelligent than these white people, you'll find yourselves being so much more successful than any of these white people. Number 3, believe in yourself. Have ambition. Have drive. When you take your eyes off the media and you start to look at yourself for who you are, or what you can do, then your ambition will rise. One of the real big reasons that I want to start a software company, I got my college degree in electrical engineering and economics, not software development. But in engineering school, I had these kids that were comp sci. Brilliant kids. Brilliant. Then I look around and I see all these IPOs, all these companies being funded by VCs in Silicon Valley, and I don't see any black companies. So I started to ask myself, why is this? And I started to do my research. When you go online and you do research on software companies and consulting companies, you find that the Indians have big ideas. The Asians have big ideas. The white people have big ideas. But the black people, they have tiny little ideas. We need to start dreaming big. Fuck what the white media has told you. We need to start dreaming big. We need to start dreaming about creating the next Microsoft, the next Oracle, the next Cisco, the next Google, the next General Motors, the next General Electric. Those need to be black companies, founded by black people, staffed by black people, and we build them big. We build them bigger than anything any white person has. And we will be amazed at our success. The reason I'm starting a software company is because there is no major software company out there owned by black people. As a result, I've taken the time to teach myself everything